and welcome to today's video, and welcome back to my own car. And what I thought I'd do is just talk about my car in a few videos I'm going to do, which is the things I like and the things I dislike about this car, which immediately, I know what you're thinking, is very original. I know everyone seems to be making these videos now, and I'm just jumping on the bandwagon and making them about my own car. Now, I've actually done just over 30,000 miles in this car now, so I feel like I'm in a pretty good position to talk about it in more detail. I did make a video early last year, which was a review of some kind. It was my year review, so after owning the car for a year, what did I think, how did I like it, etc. And since then, I've grown to like certain things more and grown to dislike things more. So I'm going to talk about both of them. And I'm going to kick off with the positives rather than the negatives. To break it down into a top 5. And what I'm going to start my top 5 with is the interior. I think if you're driving a car as much as I've driven this, it's nice to be in a nice place. And I've driven many cars over the past few years, and I get into them and I think, oh my god, this is amazing, you know, this is great. And the Range Rover Sport was one of them. That was really nice inside, the layout, etc. High up, great. But when I get back into my own car, I always think, oh man, but it's just not as nice as this. And you know, I guess that's open to open to argument on whether that's actually true or not. Some people will prefer this, some people will prefer Range. It's all good. But the reason I prefer my own car's interior is because I like feeling a bit closed in, and I also like just the minimalist layout of this area. I like that everything is very accessible, it's very easy to navigate around, and as weird as it might sound, I like the fact that my feet go under the dashboard, which might sound obvious, but there are some cars I've driven where you just feel like you're kind of sitting high up, like you're kind of sitting like that, and almost how I imagine a lorry or a bus would feel. You're just like up high and the steering wheel's down here, and I don't really like that. I like feeling, you know, kind of sat down. But just purely from the look of the interior, taking the quality aside, I just feel like it just looks great in here. And I've just said look and just a lot, but it does look very nice in here. Now obviously you don't buy a car just for the interior. There is no point having this really nice interior if the car drives like a sack of shit. Which brings me on to my next positive, the way this car drives. Now I actually have a bit of a love-hate relationship with the way a car drives. On one hand, I love it. I like the quickness in the gear changes. I like that I know the car enough to know how much I need to give it to get it to go where I need to go. Bear with me. But then on the other hand, it's partially a negative, which I'll talk about in a separate video because of the turbo lag. But once you get over that, once you get used to the lag, it's actually a very nice car to drive. And it's not the smoothest car, but that's my fault because I didn't buy Audi's magnetic ride. I was a bit of a cheapskate and just went for the Drive Select instead. It's just such an easy car to drive. It is just a huge go-kart. It just does what you want it to do. And this is going to merge into positive number 3, which is the speed of the car. Now, before any of you judge me, I don't drive this car above the speed limits anywhere, first and foremost. But on a few country lanes where you're able to put your foot down that bit more, it's always nice or surprising how fast this car actually is. And yes, I know there is an RS3, I know there are A45s, I know there are M2s, etc. that are quicker. But I haven't driven any of those cars yet, and for the time being, this car is still pleasantly quick. Has 300 brake, although the numbers vary, so it could be kind of somewhere between 305 and 310. Not that that makes a huge difference, but when you pop this car into dynamic, and if you pop it into sport, so you know, dropping it into sport is so easy. pull down on the gear lever, it will change down a few gears for you. You'll get a bit of sound. You can put your foot down, and this car actually revs out to about 7,500 before it will change gear, which is quite high for a small car. And you get that kind of mechanical clap as it changes gear, which is the only reason I actually went for a automatic car. I think it does it on the manual, but I don't know, and I didn't want to take the risk, so I went for auto. And I mean, there are times where this car has surprised me by how quick it gets to speeds, which I'm not going to mention on camera, and you just think to yourself, Jesus, you know, this is a 5-door hatchback car. You know, it doesn't look that different from a normal, you know, S-Line Audi A3. This is going to be a bit of a controversial choice, because a lot of people will say these cars aren't drivers' cars, you know, they're just point-and-go cars that happen to be quite quick, they're straight-line cars. But I actually like the way that this car corners. It is a bit of a fight to get it to do certain corners at certain speeds, but I think that's a part of the enjoyment of driving the car. But just on, you know, these country lanes dotted all around this area, or even on the drive into work, this car handles like a beast. You can really throw it into corners, and you're not going to get the feel that you would from a BMW when you come out of corners, and maybe you don't get the feel of the A45 as you're going through the corner. But I think it's enough for most people, unless you want to take this to a track. On the road, I don't really think there would be much difference, because if you own an M2, you're not going to drift out of every corner that you take. Anyway, this is not a comparison video, but that's number 4. The speed and the cornering. Now, I don't know if that was number 4. I've kind of lost count already, so this could be like a top 6 or 7 video, but let's just go with it. Because the next thing I want to talk about is the look of this car. I still struggle when I'm driving around and I see all these different cars on the road. I'm still trying to find a car that looks as pretty as my car. And obviously I would say that because I'm spending a lot of money on this car, but genuinely, I think these cars are so pretty to look at. They might not look very manly, and I've tried to do certain things to mine to make it look a bit more aggressive, like I did the 17-year-old new driver thing of painting my front badges black. And they might not look very aggressive. There's no stripes on the car, there's no huge wing on the car. But I like that because it's very understated, and when you look at the car, it's just in proportion, you know. It just looks great from nearly every angle. The exhausts are the right size for the car. One of the issues I have with the new Audi S3 is that the exhausts look stupid because the car's so big, but the exhausts look tiny. It just doesn't look right, whereas on this they are the right size for the car. I like the kind of dark grey metallic of the wheels rather than just being silver, which again just makes it look a little bit more stealthy. And it just looks so good. But when I take photos of it, and sometimes when I park the car, and this is how you know you've made a good investment in the car that you've bought, is if you park it up in a car park, or say Tesco or Morrison's or wherever you shop, if you park it up and you look back at it, or if you do your shopping and you come out to the car and you see it and you think, Jesus, that's my car, I'm so lucky to have that car, you made the right choice. And I still do that, even now, even with 30,000 miles and paint that, to be honest, could probably do with a good detail. I still look at it and think, Jesus, you're a sexy car. And I think that's my top 5. So to go through it again, we've got the interior, we've got the driving of the car, the general driving of the car, we've got the speed of the car, we've got the handling of the car, and then we have the look of the car. All pretty standard things. In terms of quirky things I like about this car, I can't say there are many, but the stereo, I paid to have the Bang & Olufsen stereo fitted to the car. Best decision I made, because Audi's standard stereos aren't that great. if you're thinking of buying an Audi, I would heavily recommend you spend the extra. The other things I like that are a bit maybe quirky and individual to this car, the heated seats, lifesaver, especially in this weather. I have my heated seat on most of the time. I have it on now. I'm the type of person who likes to be warm in my car. A lot of my passengers complain because it's always like a sauna in here, and it might be like summer and I've got the heated seat on, but I like that. And I also like the Bluetooth in this as well. I had the previous shape Audi A3 before this, and the Bluetooth was always a little bit shaky. Like occasionally it would disconnect midway through a song, or if you were midway through a call, it would just disconnect. This is very stable. Touch wood, I've had no issues with it so far. Hello, so in the excitement of driving my car again, I completely forgot to wrap the video up. I actually just drove home, parked up, got out of my car, acted as if I didn't even record a video. So apologies, this will be the ending to that video. I hope you enjoyed the video. Looking back, I did ramble a fair amount. Some of the points didn't really make as much sense as I would have liked them to. However, they still make enough sense for you to understand what I mean. I hope. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you also own an S3 and what you do and don't like about yours. I will be making another video later in the week about a few of the things that I dislike. Should be very entertaining. Once again, thank you for watching the video, and until next time, peace.